Everyone is talking about n8n's AI agent capabilities, and for good reason. But did you know what the difference is between an AI and an AI agent? Let me show you with this YouTube Notes summary automation. Hey there, it is I versus AI. I'm going to point you down to this summarize video. This is a simple AI node in n8n. And though this AI node has a lot of prompt crafting, an entire prompt chain that instructs the model as to what I want it to do, the model can only take one action, and that is return a neatly formatted YouTube summary from a YouTube transcript. It cannot do anything else but that. However, an AI agent, which you can see immediately, has the ability to add 3 different items to the node: a model, in this case an OpenAI model, some memory, but neither one of these differentiate what makes an AI agent an actual agent. That is this node, the Google Calendar node. And the key here is this: an AI agent can, using its own agency, use a tool to help complete the task you've asked of it. It can do this autonomously. It can choose which tool is best for the job. And you prompt the model to understand which tools it has on board and when and how to use them. This AI agent demo walks us through setting up our first AI agent node. You first will connect your accounts, the OpenAI account here. I have already set up my credential with OpenAI, but if you have not, you would do so by heading up here to the drop-down arrow, selecting Create New Credential, and entering your API key. Once you've done so, you will see Connection Tested Successfully. For this simple task, I have chosen GPT-4o Mini. As you give more tasks and more tools to the model, you may move up to GPT-4o, which is well-versed on how to use tools. Adding memory to an agent is really important if you want to have a conversation with the agent in which it would remember, well, anything you said beyond your last input. It's the difference between walking up to an agent and saying, "Hi, my name is Iva," and the agent saying, "Hello, Iva," and you saying, "What's my name?" and the agent saying, "I have no idea. I've got no memory. Sorry." The memory tool here, of which there are several, this is the simplest memory tool, can be chosen under Other AI Nodes and Memory. But any prompts that you've given it, such as this well-written system prompt here that gives the model its role, the date, and the time, remain throughout any run you give, any execution, or any task that you give to the model. Setting up this Google Calendar tool is simple, and the way that we do this here is through Create New Credential. You will click Sign In with Google if you are on n8n Cloud. If you are self-hosting on n8n, the setup has a few more steps to it. You can find those steps in the docs, and I will also add to the description a link or two to videos which will help you get set up, particularly with the Google credential setup, which has a few more steps than other credentials do. All that's needed is to select the calendar I'd like the agent to have access to. Whenever you've made a change to a workflow, it's a good idea to hit the Save button or hit Control or Command S on your keyboard. Now let's have a quick chat with the model and find out what's on our calendar for today. I'm going to open chat. You're going to see that it does take over the nodes here. So I'm just going to hit the quick little tidy up button. The zoom button would do the same thing. That will bring the nodes into focus here so we can see the model using the tools as we ask it the information. What's on my calendar for today? The neat thing about the AI agent is that it first sent a request to the OpenAI model. It then added that information to the memory here. It then called the tool it knew which tool to call, then returned the response from the tool back to memory. If you'd like to learn more about how tools, functions work, how they look, this is a JSON object with the key and the value. Wanting to know what's on our calendar for today, the model used today's date. And what we got was an output. This is an API request, the result from an API request. We sent a request through Google Calendar's API. It returned a response. The model took in that response and then output it in human formatted language, which states that I have one event on my calendar scheduled for today, which is recording this n8n AI agent video. To become a seasoned AI agent flowgrammer, I highly recommend that you take the time to get used to what the model is actually doing behind the scenes. So if you run into any errors or problems, this would be your first step to finding a solution and have the agent better understand what your specific needs are with your specific tools. I'm going to clear out this chat history here and hide the chat for now. You can also clear out history here and start fresh. The n8n node reference library I put together for you to give you an overview of the nodes that you are most likely to use as a new flowgrammer to n8n. I want to draw your attention to the AI tools. These are the most common tools that you will add to an AI agent, but it is by no means all that an AI agent can do. I've already talked about the two most powerful nodes in n8n, and we see this code tool and this HTTP request tool are available to the AI agent. This HTTP request tool will allow us to add any tool to n8n. If n8n does not have a native integration, this HTTP request tool can solve that problem. But the other tool that is so powerful in n8n besides the code tool and the HTTP request tool is the ability to use any other n8n workflow as a tool for the agent. In part 3 of our journey through this n8n starter guide, we built this simple weather report workflow. Now let's say that we wanted to give this information to our model, the agent, to use to not only tell us what's on our calendar for today, but also give us the weather. Let's learn how to convert this workflow into something that is usable for the AI agent. Our workflow is currently set up to run at 9 a.m. every morning to send us a weather report in our Gmail account. But we need to add another trigger. Let's remove the 9 a.m. trigger and move it down here. Let's add another trigger. The trigger we're looking for is called when executed by another workflow. And it will ask us to either define a field, basically what is the AI agent going to send to this workflow to start it up. When the model made a request to Google Calendar, for example, there was an input and an output. The input consisted of what's called key value pairs. That basically means a key stating what it is and a value of what that thing is. This could be fruit, apple, or car, Volkswagen. The key value pairs here are after and before, and then the specific date. This is the AI agent going to the calendar using our analogy of servers being apartment buildings and databases being apartments in those buildings. The AI agent is heading out into the wider world of the internet, heading out to the Google server apartment complex, finding the apartment that houses the information regarding Google Calendar. That's called an endpoint. If you are not sure about what I'm referring to, I covered all of this in episode 3. When we built that simple weather workflow, I showed you all about how APIs work using the HTTP request node. But in this case, we are going to the specific apartment in that server, in that apartment building, that database, and we're asking for information about today's date, what's on our calendar. This node is basically saying, what's the input? When the AI agent goes to start this workflow, what is it going to say? Let's add a field. We'll call it data, and the type, in this case, it's just going to be an empty string because all that we want to do is start the workflow. There's no necessary data we need to send to this workflow in order to start it. We just want to flip it on. Let me take this node and connect it. I'm going to delete this daily trigger node, and we no longer want this to be sent to our Gmail account. Let's go ahead and delete this node. And we're going to add in another simple node here, edit fields node. It's also called the set node. It's how it used to be called. And it basically allows us to just define, of all the information that comes back here, what do we want to send back to the model? In order to add this information in, to map it in, let's quickly run this workflow up until this point. I thought that this just meant to run this node only, but it actually means to run all the data through up to this node, which we all know is set here because we've already built this. Now that we have that information, we can finally map it into a field here. Now, we don't actually need to map this into a field. The reason why I'm choosing to do this is because I do not want to send all of this extraneous information to the model. This takes up tokens and is unnecessary. We just want the content. n8n's team did a great job with the set field node here, the edit fields node. I'm going to just drop the content right in here. And it's named correctly with the key set to content and the value set to what the content is. Our weather report. To make sure that the agent can use the workflow correctly, let's give it one more whirl. Everything is working correctly. Now we need to connect this tool to the AI agent. I'm going to hit the plus button here and select the call n8n workflow tool. I've named the tool get_weather. That's because the function tool can contain letters, numbers, and underscores only. This is because it's meant to be used by the large language model, which expects to see that function in a very specific way, and not really for our use case. The description should be pretty simple. A large language model doesn't need a lot of detail to understand a tool, particularly a basic tool like this. Simply ask it to call this tool to whatever it is you want the agent to do with the tool, and then tell it what the input should be, how you want it structured. I have written, call this weather tool when the user requests the weather. The input should be null. We are just basically saying, just send nothing, basically. That's all. And here we want to choose from our database, choose this simple weather report, and here is where we can input what we'd want the model to send by stating something specific, which we don't need to in this case. We only want to start the workflow, or the very handy ability to let the model define this parameter. Okay, we have our AI agent all ready to go and call that n8n workflow. But I took the time to change the tool here to weather to make it a little bit clearer. If all goes well, we should get a nice weather report for New York City. Notice that I have not specified what city because I want to make sure that the tool, the model, returns that information from the weather tool. It's calling the tool and reporting back that the weather in New York is overcast with a temperature of 41 degrees Fahrenheit and the humidity is at 95%. Excellent. It works. Yay. We have our first AI agent in n8n. We've given it a brain with an OpenAI node. We've given it some memory. We've hooked it up to a tool. We're even calling a workflow as a tool. But AI agents have so much more capability, including the ability to call other agents. Yeah, and make an AI agent army which solves your problems in your business, in your life, in your finances with custom solutions that you have designed for yourself. And that's a powerful feeling. But the true power is learning how to become an expert flowgrammer. People who build amazing n8n workflows like this one, and this one. I spent time talking to flowgrammers from n8n on the inside, and I have some secret tips and tricks for you. That video is on screen right now.